D-Mac, some news out of Red Wings camp. Obviously, the news broke last night during the Tigers game, and it's Lucas Raymond got the deal done, just a touch over $64 million, and D-Mac 8 for 8 seems to pretty much be the standard deal in the NHL now. If you're on a rookie contract, you come up towards free agency, you've got 30-goal seasons on your resume. That seems to be about the number.
No, I mean, it sort of plays out. The thing that I like about the NHL is now the salaries are going up, right? You look at the Draisaitl deal. You look at, guys are starting to get paid, but where Lucas Raymond falls in is that, he'll be value in like 4 years, right? And this is like commitment to the long term on both parts. Guy you want to be here that's matured enough. He's only 22 years old. So the end of his contract will still be 30. You know what I mean? And it plays out. And just listening, the biggest thing in listening to Steve Yzerman talk about this deal is exactly like he could have played with us, right? With the way that Steve Yzerman talks about him, what he looks for is self-motivated and different things like that, and the maturity. And the end of the year we saw, I think, what Lucas Raymond is more of. Right, and that's 13 goals in the last 20 games. He is going to be your 40-goal guy. Maybe 1 year he'll be your 50-goal guy. Right? He's only going to get better. He's going to improve his all-around game. We saw last year with the commitment in the offseason to add 10 pounds, what it did for him. You see, this is a win-win for both sides. And here's the thing for everybody else is with Steve Yzerman contract. I'm not messing around. You're worth $8 million a season to me for this and that. I'm going to pay you right now for, what you've done and to pick up the slack, but it's right on par of where it should be. Now, to everybody else who's like, Mo Seider, right? Yeah, yes, it would have been cute to have them both done at the same time, but Mo Seider, he's more valuable. And
given the nature of his position,
get bigger number, and might be same 8-year deal, but it might be a longer deal. I think that these are things like it's gonna get done. Mo Seider is I think he's more Victor Hedman, but if we're gonna use the analogies to our Red Wings history, this is their Nick Lidstrom, right? So it will get done. To whatever else, just patience. And the one that snuck through a lot of people, and Spenny's not here, but Johnny Burgers getting that opportunity at, $885, which also makes him, if he has a good year, it puts him as a valuable guy to go get something else. I think a lot of times, too, when I looked at that deal, it was, okay, maybe he could have got a little bit more, but this makes him ripe for everybody else if it's something that you want to move this guy. So to me, it's just, like I always said, Neil, what's the rush? Patience. Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider are two guys that are going to be pivotal for this team to win the championship. And they're going to be passing the cup to each other. When? I can't lock that down. I'm going to guess 3-4 years. But so that puts Raymond right in the middle of it. So here's the difference. We see this team being developed. You see the Larkins in place. You see the Raymonds in place. You're going to see the Seiders in place, right? All the contracts, the Sherratts and the Halls and all these other guys, they're going to fall off, right? So if you look at the books like you always taught me to, Steve Yzerman hasn't overpaid for anybody, right? Setting this team up for success and being able to still maneuver moving forward. And again, we aren't a playoff team yet. So, but this puts us closer to being one.
And plus two, D-Mac, and here's the flip side of the coin for that. Lucas Raymond now makes more money than Alex DeBrincat does.
And Lucas Raymond's more valuable than Alex DeBrincat.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, here's where I was driving at.
Dude, Lucas Raymond took a step over Alex DeBrincat last year in his play. He took a step over him in his leadership. You look at Team Sweden at the World Championship. Who did they name assistant captain? Your guy, Lucas Raymond. I think this takes pressure off of DeBrincat because I expect a little bit more, but I think that as a hockey player all around, like you Lucas Raymond, who's his comparable and who do I think that he could be like, and maybe the ceiling like his point, but he's a Braden Point guy. More so, I think you're going to see that separation between Raymond and DeBrincat.
So you think
means
Raymond?
I think he deserved it.
You think Raymond has more in him?
100%.
40?
I'm with Steve, dude. At 22
40,
years
50?
old, what?
So you got a 50 in the
I
bag?
think in his career. I don't think this year, but as this team goes and they get better and they get that 1C and whatever like that.
Well, you better be careful, D-Mac, because people are going to say you think Raymond's no good. That you expect more.
Come with that vitriol.
Yeah.
Great word.
Woodward Sports chat thread. Sue you. DeBrincat was 2 weeks on fire, and then
he's
nada.
streaky. That's what you need. You need
yeah.
a streaky guy. He scores like Shanny scored.
I love that you bring that up because the streaky guys are the ones that carry you for 2 weeks.
Yes, right. The Raymond is going to give right
you your thing.
Is that play and yes, but that's who Alex DeBrincat is. Please go back and go through his history. Right, they break down game to game. Right, when you get a program sheet or whatever, you can see the guy's whole season of what he puts up in points each game. There's blocks. Why is that? I don't know. But with this kind, and I think with what Steve Yzerman's saying and everything like that, that's why you gave him this money. But Alex, right? And when you're seeing it play out where Alex DeBrincat is your second line winger at 4.5 or whatever, the money makes sense, right? You're paying the right guy. And that's why making that deal last year for DeBrincat in the offseason at the value that you didn't overpay anything to whatever. She still had the money. So when Lucas Raymond, you expect him to make that step and you know you have his contract that you have to pay here in the offseason, you can give him $8 million and it falls into place.
Let's go Red Wings Party. He's having a pretty good day in the chat. We just saw the tip of the iceberg at the end of the season with Raymond. He learned at the end of the year to shoot more. Well, that I don't know about. Mike G, $8 million for Lucas. I expect him to pop 40 goals. So
and I believe so does Steve.
So does Lucas Raymond.
And so does Lucas.
I would agree with that. But yeah, jump into there, get your thoughts out there, and because I'm with you, D-Mac, and I'm glad you brought it up like that, like the DeBrincat thing. And this, for me, this is where sports always comes back to a style thing. What style do you like? I like that.
How do you want it?
Like you want, like most people probably want their 40-goal guy to get their 40 goals kind of very linearly, right? One every other game. That's what they want. See, I would rather have a guy that pops you 5 in 3 games or 5 in 2 games.
Right, so you have one guy that does it the 40-goal way over to, which is like 1 every 2 games.
Yeah.
But then you have that other guy. Like, they got a yin and yang, and they got to support each other from the right side. We always looked at it like a position, right? On the right side, how many goals can we be a part of? Here's a prime example. We lost Dino Ciccarelli in '96, so like Scotty until he replaced him with Shanny, right? But the thing was, could Marty Lapointe and I combine for enough goals to make up for Dino's? You know what I'm saying? It's coming out of that right side in different positions. So, yeah, you don't want everybody to go cold at once, right? And then now you got more where everybody said. And to let's go Red Wings Party's point, that's a confidence thing. So if Lucas Raymond is shooting more and being successful, well, he's going to shoot first instead of pass and stuff like that. It's all the maturation of it. I mean, how can you not like with what you've seen? And does anybody believe he's going to regress?
No.
He's 22 years old. That's the kicker. The kicker is he's still a baby, but he's got his best years ahead of him.
Woodward Sports chat there, people were talking about the numbers that are coming off the books as well. Yeah, there is a thing, Oliamata, Petrie, This will be Petrie's last year as well. Ville Husso comes off. Alex Lyon comes off. So, there is –
in the next 2 years, how many guys come off? Like, that's what I'm saying. You got Schrock coming. You got, like, where's your money? The guys that you're committed to are Larkin, Raymond. Who else?
DeBrincat will have one more year left at that point. Kopp will have one more year left.
So
JT
with still
Compher will have
that,
one
they're
more
still
year.
on prove-its because you're not there yet.
Right. So the moral of the story is this. It's a move we all knew was happening. We knew the rough area of what it was going to be, and that's what it was. And it's certainly not surprising. Before we cut to the break.
And I don't want Mike Q and everybody else. I said 3 years for a cup. I didn't say 3 years for the playoffs, right? So, thank you.
Did you hear Stevie's quote today, though, about playoffs?
I did not.
I'm sure his quote was, it's 2024 and it doesn't mean anything else, and you can't sacrifice.
Yeah, he said it'd be nice to make it. It'd show improvement, but that's not the goal.
No, it's not his goal. No, like as far as building this team, take it down. He's not saying he doesn't think this team can be a playoff team.
I understand
but his
that.
goal is the foundational, so that with all these contracts coming off and getting in place and whatever, like I don't know what to tell you. He's just bracing you for he might not think they're as good because we got to wait to see what the kids do, right? Isn't this just like the Tigers? You're gonna allow the Edvardsons and who else is gonna, come to fruition, and do they need more time? The question is will he allow them to develop at this level, or will continue to send them back to GR? So
I would just think after last year, like that's got to be like, like how Dan Campbell's like it's Super Bowl or bust now. Like he leveled up. And I feel like the Red Wings need to level up.
But Stick, though, what's going to change?
No, but here's the thing, Stick, is that you got to let. So here's the thing, right? Does that disappoint me when he says that? Yes, my fandom doesn't, but not to listen to what the man says to how he's building this. Now, it doesn't mean it's sort of expectation. And if he's going to say that, you got to take it in somehow that it's not there yet. What he's telling you is, hey, dude, we can run the bus, but it's not at optimal.
See, Stick, like here's my question for you, man, and for the people that kind of share
Would it
that
make
mindset.
you feel better if he said, "Oh yeah, we're a playoff team," and then, but he didn't believe it? Because I want to know what he believes.
But my question to you, Stick, and for the people that share that mindset are, okay, so what? So what is something magically going to change? Is he going to operate differently than the way that you have seen? And look, I always mention about how we've become this linear society where we want everything in nice, easy, pretty graphs,
digestible,
when it moves up. He's given you that. He's literally improved every single year he's been here.
But wouldn't the next step in that linear progression be playoffs, because they were so close? They were flirting with it last year, right? So
sure.
wouldn't the next logical step be that? So that's why you think like the next expectation would be that. That's all.
He's letting you know how good the East is.
I'll never
He's giving respect to the rest of the teams that are fighting
and
at the bottom.
And Stick, that was going to be where I go to. Do you expect New Jersey to be that bad again?
No, New Jersey added Sheldon Keefe as their coach, who now he's got actual defensemen and a team. No, I think Jersey is one of the teams.
Buffalo's too good to not make it one of these years. They're good.
The Buffaloes and Ottawas are the ones that you got to fight out, and the Islanders. Like it's going to be a lot of the same as last year.
Correct.
Right? Like that's what I'm saying. But as long as it's going to be down.
But I do know this: they'll be better.
Yeah,
I know they've been better every single year.
So that should mean playoffs.
Well,
every other team
that's not
better.
linear, though. But that's not linear. But that's easy. So everybody says, well, then it must be playoffs. Stop. Well, if the field is the same and everything's the same from last year, then yeah, probably. But it doesn't work like that. Like the New Jersey Devils are going to be better.
But there will also be teams that'll be worse. Right?
Maybe.
So we're having the same argument, just on a different side of a coin.
It's just this hard line, get in playoffs. Again, so you view it differently if the season were 4 minutes different. because that's what it came down to. 4 minutes on the last week of the season with what happened in Philadelphia. So if that 4 minutes turns differently, you feel completely different about where the organization sits. That's illogical to me.
Completely different, no.
Yeah, no,
but,
you do. No, you do.
No, but you would want a young team to have playoff experience,
sure,
wouldn't you? So wouldn't that
but
change the way you feel?
No,
so yeah,
4
you
minutes,
would feel differently.
No, 4 minutes does not change the way I feel about the trajectory of the job he's done.
It's what would have happened after those 4 minutes, Neil. Not those 4 minutes. It's the playoff experience after, because maybe they learn how to get a little tougher. Maybe they learn how to handle the playoff intensity on the road, and that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, those 4 minutes to you are 4 minutes. After that, it's the butterfly effect.
What could it have mean where most of us think is a blessing in disguise that they didn't?
Well, then I would ask you, this
is
is where I take advantage of you
right.
being in the room, D-Mac, where I say, do you feel as though Washington, quote, learned anything about that playoff run against when they got filleted by the Rangers?
No, but do you want to be Washington? Or do you want to, actually compete? You know what I'm saying? I get what Stick's saying, right? Because we don't know what the what-if would have been. And Stick's saying I would rather get my ass pounded in the playoffs and make it to the playoffs and know what I got.
But the reaction.
With the young team.
So
like what the Pistons were doing with those vets who we knew weren't going to improve anyways, and the Pistons getting swept out. They learned nothing from those. Young team, though, you're learning.
But my point is, the reaction when they didn't make it. And we took the text.
I think it's more motivating for this younger team the first time that it happens, because they got to go to the golf course every year and look at each other and say, we did it to ourselves instead of these other teams doing it to us down the stretch and whatever, and see how it comes back.
The moral of my story is the way that it shifted everybody's perspective to where if they would have made the playoffs, everything is on track and this organization's popping. 4 minutes go differently, they don't. They're like, well, Yzerman should be on the hot seat. That's absurd to me. That's absurd.
Listen, Goff throws a touchdown pass within the last 30 seconds of the last game. He's not the worst quarterback in the world, and everybody's still on the bandwagon. That's how sports are. That's just how they are, and fans are insane.
All right, before we go.
Do you respect that fan? Do you respect a fan that does that?
No.
Because I don't.
But I don't feel I'm fickle in thinking that, hey, I think the next logical step is playoffs, and if they didn't get it, I'd be like, this has kind of hit a standstill.
What
if they didn't make it, but they were better?
There? See, to Neil's point, the question is, is this team improved? Do you think this team is improving, and will they be better? If they are the same or worse, then your questions. But if they're
depending on how that happens,
they're getting better, and it's not because what Steve Yzerman says is that the idea when they become that playoff team, they're not going anywhere for a long time. So that's the toughest next step, right? And to Stick's expectation, if we're going right and to the fandom, is that and because we've been starved for it. And that's the whole thing. So that's sort of the expectation. But my question is, how didn't they get there? Did they lose 5 guys? Was it injuries? Did it? What went down? We got to let the season play out, right? That to me, that's what it is. It's the same thing as what the same thing with the Goff. I mean, come on, man. It's game 2. You're gonna want it to happen. You want it to happen earlier. But to the Red Wings thing. Are they better on paper at the end of the year than they were at the end of the season?
But I want to Oompa Loompa now.